Hey, what we doing, man?
Yeah, we smoking on that Ray Brown pack, man.
Where you at?
I thought that boy said about week.
Who says you can't motivate a team, man?
Oh!
Yeah, bring the stogie out.
Motivated team with the best of them and things like that, but
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Shooting for the Stars podcast, you guys, with y'all's one and only host. Y'all guys already know, Cameron Williams, and y'all guys can see by the title of this video, you guys, I'm going to be giving y'all a breakdown, starting off a recap for the Texans and the Chargers game. This we'll make it real short, quick and simple. And then later in the week, you guys, I'm going to be bringing y'all previews to this week's divisional round games, you guys. Before I get into it, you guys, before I get into it, make sure to hit the like, comment, subscribe button. We on the road to 1,000 subscribers, you guys. I cannot get there without you guys' love and support. And in order to make this dream of mine happen, you guys, I need y'all guys to tap in, hit that share button, turn on post notifications if y'all want to see more uploads just like this here on Shooting for the Stars podcast. But I'm done rambling, you guys. Y'all guys already know I'm getting straight into the content. Let's go.
One eternity later.
As we know, Wildcard weekend is officially wrapped up, you guys. We all know we got rid of the teams that shouldn't have been there, like the Pittsburgh Steelers. They had no business there. Pretty much every game was really a blowout. And y'all guys seemed like I went 4 for 2. I got 4 right. 4 of my predictions. I said the Packers were going home, and they did. To Philadelphia, that wasn't the game. I said the Steelers were going home. They did, 28-14. That wasn't the game. They didn't even compete. Okay, and I said the Buccaneers were going home to the Commanders. I said Jayden Daniels will be the first. Well, not the first. I was hoping Bo Nix was going to be the first. That's the one I was wrong about. I said Jayden Daniels is going to beat the Buccaneers. They're going to pull off the upset. And then I was right about the Vikings. They got their rear ends kicked tonight. It was an absolute embarrassment. An absolute fraud. Them didn't even compete. That young Rams team brought it to them. But this is about the Texans and the Chargers, and I'm going to be getting into it right now. So first, starting off with this game, man, it looked very, very scary for a Houston Texans fan. H-Town definitely took over. They definitely stepped it up. On their first drive, it was a fumble, turnover. Chargers picked it up, didn't do nothing with it. And what the Chargers really did, man, the Chargers' biggest downfall, kudos to the Houston Texans defense. Will Henderson making plays. Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter making plays. Kamari Lassiter getting the first pick, and Derek Stingley. Oh my gosh, Houston. Y'all have a star back there, a really legitimate shutdown corner. That dude right there looked like he could play wide receiver. I see why he made the first team All-Pro team this year. That dude is right there. It can play some football. I love watching that young man's game. I think, honestly, a lot of people put Sauce Gardner in that number 2 spot or behind Patrick Surtain, but I think you can make a good argument that right behind Pat Surtain is Derek Stingley. That dude, that young brother right there, he had 2 interceptions of his own right. Eric Murray had one, and Kamari Lassiter, they had 4 picks. They just didn't hold Justin. They held Justin Herbert. But why'd they hold Justin Herbert? Like I said, the Chargers, first year, new coach, Jim Harbaugh getting the feel for it. This was a franchise that was in complete turmoil with their last head coaching regime over there with Brandon Staley. So I do see why. Like I said, it's an accomplishment that they made the playoffs. And the success that they have. They really had no weapons. You go in the game, y'all guys go back to the game. Outside of Ladd McConkey, nobody else for the Chargers stepped up. Only 50 receiving yards. Only 50 rushing yards for the Chargers. I believe J.K. Dobbins only had 9 carries for 26 rushing yards. Ladd McConkey 9 receptions for 197 receiving yards. He popped off. He had 21.9 yards per reception and scored a touchdown. That dude right there was absolutely playing out of his mind, but behind him, nobody stepped up. Nobody stepped up for the Chargers. And for Justin Herbert, he threw 32 passes and completed 14 to 32, threw for 242 passing yards. He threw 1 touchdown pass, and that 1 touchdown pass was to Ladd McConkey, and had threw 4 INTs. So for the Chargers, as y'all guys can see, we know real simple. The improvement for them in the offseason, obviously, Jim Harbaugh made this team tough. He established the identity of this team. Now it's just about getting the weapons. You know, they gave away their best receiver. He's over there in Chicago over there, wishing he was probably still over there in Los Angeles and Keenan Allen. So they just got to get some weapons around Herbert now. I like Ladd McConkey, but he shouldn't be no number one receiver. I think he will be an excellent number 2 wide receiver. But being a number 1 receiver on your football team, come on, let's be serious. So either they find that guy in the draft, they make a trade, see who comes out in free agency. But I believe the Chargers, they need to legitify a number 1 receiver. They maybe need to look at this running back room again. I said the Texans, they shut that running game down. I mean, Houston really did. Houston came to play. I get it, and Houston felt the disrespect, and I understand the injuries and stuff. And yes, C.J. Stroud has took a little bit of a step back. I mean, from what his rookie year was. I mean, his rookie year, man. I mean, C.J. Stroud was absolutely phenomenal, man. I mean, going off through 4,000 passing yards his rookie season. You know, this season 1,000 yards short. This season, I mean, only 3,727 passing yards this year. 20 touchdown passes. He threw 23 last year's rookie year. He only threw 5 interceptions as a rookie. This year he's thrown 12 and only finished this year off with an 87.0 QBR rating versus last year as a rookie he had a 100.0 QBR rating. I mean, don't get me wrong, he played outstanding today. He make no mistake about that. He completed 22 out of 33 of his pass attempts. He threw for 282 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 INT. Was a bad INT. Looked like he was trying to push it out of bounds. Didn't get enough arm strength on it. And the defensive back from the Chargers were able to get both feet in bounds and capitalize on it. So for Houston, like I said, it's real simple for Houston, you guys. It's real simple for Houston. They have a tough matchup this week. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut to the nitty gritty of it. The Texans have an unbelievable tough matchup this week against the 2-time reigning back-to-back defending champs and the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm going to be making I'm going to be making a separate video about that solely later this week. I'll be giving y'all a separate video preview to that, but they're going to have to, some things they have to clean up. I like how they won the time of possession battle, especially against a Jim Harbaugh team that like to be physical, and they like to usually win the time of possession, especially, not having really no weapons on the outside. They played more of a ground and pound. They played phenomenal defense. I mean, C.J. Stroud really picked apart that defense and the Texans offensive line. Like I said, we raved about the Texans offensive line, but kudos to them boys, man. Kudos to that Texans offensive line. I mean, they gave up only 3 sacks. I mean, that's pretty darn impressive right there. So I like how they did that. But this week, like I said, they're going to have to be darn near and perfect as perfect can get going against the Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to have to win the time of possession battle. The Texans had way too many penalties this week, even though they blew out the Chargers 32-12. Still, they have to clean those penalties up. They had 8 penalties for 86 yards. That could be the game right there going against a team like Kansas City, a team that's really, really dominant and picks you apart off little things. Any little mistake that you make against the Kansas City Chiefs, man, they will pick you apart for it. Make no mistake about that. So, the stakes have to be limited. Joe Mixon, like I said, he was sitting over there. We were seeing as he was smoking a cigar after their win. Come on, Joe Mixon. You know what it's like to play in a big-time game. Why are you smoking a cigar so early in the season? Come on now, Houston. We got to get serious now. Celebrate one day. Now it's time to get for real because I have to go up there to Kansas City and GEHA, Arrowhead Stadium. And that's not going to be no joke. Make no mistake about that. He played great against the Chargers. I was surprised. He had for 25 carries, 105 rushing yards, had a touchdown. They're going to need that. They're going to need to use him in the passing game. Again, the Texans, they're down Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs, 2 of their big-time receiving threats. So Nico Collins, you can expect him to get involved a lot this week against the Kansas City Chiefs. He had 7 receptions for 110 receiving yards himself, and also had C.J. Stroud's only touchdown pass. He had a touchdown reception himself, and Nico Collins. You can imagine Bobby Slow is going to get him involved. But that Chiefs defense, they're going to come. Like I said, we'll bring y'all a preview to that game. But I want to say the Texans, they did, like I said, they proved that, look, we're not no pushover. We're not just going to get pushed around now. We are going to compete, and that's the mentality you have to have. And last year, and not only that, the Texans, you go back to that Ravens game when they played Baltimore a year ago in the divisional round, man, that wasn't even no game. I understand it was Stroud, rookie year, kind of nervous, first time in that kind of environment, playing at that pressure, knowing against Lamar Jackson again, playing at that level as he was last year. That's a huge that's a tall task to ask for a rookie quarterback. Now you're a second-year quarterback, C.J. Stroud. You should be trying to build off of your mistakes in your rookie season. Okay, now at least even if it doesn't work out in y'all favor, which like I said, I'm rooting for Houston to take down the big red train. I really am. But it's not going to be no easy task. I tell you that now. I at least want to see y'all guys compete. I don't want to see no 31-10 game. I don't want to see no blowout. Come on now, D'Amico Ryans, get that defense together. We need to get some stops. The first time y'all met in the season, y'all competed, so we're going to see that again. But kudos to the Texans, though, man. They definitely most deserved win. D'Amico Ryans so far is definitely earning his status as rightfully one of the best young coaches in the National Football League. Make no mistake about that, especially dealing with all the injuries. For them to come out and beat the odds against the Chargers, that's a good thing to see. And I'll be bringing y'all a preview for the Texans and Chiefs game this week. Y'all guys stay tuned, and I'll see y'all guys in the next episode on Shooting for the Stars podcast with y'all's one and only host, Cameron Williams.